I was wondering why some of my trees were sick in one area and there was a lot of standing dead. They have this fungus growing out of them. I'm told it's called Dwarf Mistletoe, but it's like growing out of the tree. So I need to do more research on it, but there was a lot of standing dead here, and all these trees right here that I took down were badly infested. So it is just everywhere. So apparently it spreads in the summertime when it's really hot. There's like these little pustules on there or whatever. They burst when it gets really warm out. And then they spread from tree to tree. So this whole little area here is completely infested. And you could see the trees that had it for a really long time. They're just growing really weird. And it eventually does kill the tree. But my fear is it's spreading to the healthier parts of my forest. So I'm quickly taking these really infected trees out of the equation. So I need to do more research on it, but I was talking to somebody who said pretty much the only way to eradicate it is to cut the tree down. But I need to verify that. But this area had a lot of dead trees already, and the amount that these are infested, I mean, this is a fairly young tree and it is totally covered. So unfortunately, this section of my trees had to be taken out. And that's what I've been working on. So one of my saws is down. I don't have extra blades on me right now. I apparently got the wrong kind. Thought I got the right kind on Amazon, but the ones that shipped, actually, I think they might be fakes. So I got to sort that out. But anyway, this is the next section I'm working on. It's killing me. I hate to take these trees down, but it's like they're so sick. So I do have a lot of healthy forests, don't get me wrong. And I have some really big healthy trees. But now that I know this fungus is here, I'm taking a much closer look. Because if it gets near my healthy trees, you know, it's just a matter of time, unfortunately. Wow, that's cold. 25 degrees Fahrenheit. It was reading 23 when I came in. Hit a little warm pocket, I guess. Hopefully, big issue here is whether the heater is still running. That new heater I put in the last 2 times, I got here to get to work. The pilot light was off. It seems to work fine when I'm here. No issues that way. I think, I'm not really sure what's going on. Yeah, it seems like it's chilly in here. Yep, pilot light is off again. That's frustrating. So it's 52 in here, so I'm guessing it went off recently. I have a feeling, I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, it is high altitude. I don't know if these things need to be adjusted somehow. But I've noticed that when the thermostat does kick on, there's like a poof, you know, like when it, you know, first catches fire. And I have a feeling almost that little poof is like actually blowing out the pilot light. Not real sure. So basically what we have to do is go back to pilot, push that down, and then it's a piezo ignition, so you just kind of push it down. There we go. Pilot's lit. I just kind of hold it down for a few seconds, maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds for it to warm up. And then I just kind of let off the pilot. And then I kick it on to usually right about there on low, and it comes on fine. It works great. So I have to troubleshoot this and figure out what's going on. Overall, when it's on and it's working, it works great. I am noticing that there's like a little gap in the flames. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look a little into this and do some research. But anyway, it's definitely getting cold here, and I need to be able to keep this working. So I took the cover off of the Martin heater, and then I took off the glass to get into the combustion chamber, because on the little nozzles, or like that little tray where the gas comes up and ignites, I could see soot more or less in the middle. So I took a little toothbrush and scraped it all off. And I did notice that little dip like I showed in the video when I first got it. So I don't know if that was from the testing purposes or something was up with my propane. I'm not real sure, but I'm going to monitor that. It's possible I'm not getting good combustion just because of the altitude. Again, I got to research that, but in the meantime, I cleaned it off and now it's much better. Yeah, that's a lot better. You can see that big dip in the middle and the flame is gone. There's still one right here, but what I noticed is on that plate, looks like from the factory, one of the small little holes where the gas comes up wasn't punched out all the way. And I'm not going to mess with that. But overall, it's burning a lot cleaner now that I cleaned off that plate, got rid of the soot. I'm just going to monitor it and see how it goes. Otherwise, this has been a great stove. It's working good. Does the job. Here's that area, just a progress update. All those dead trees that were right here for my last video. All the stuff is cleaned up and the rounds are ready to be split. Nothing like the cold to motivate you to insulate. While my cabin, when I rehabbed it, was fully re-insulated, the walls, the ceiling, all that. Underneath the cabin, where all the joists are, there's absolutely nothing. Nothing down here but chipmunks, rats, and mice. So I was looking for a way to put some insulation, but I didn't want to be crawling under here and putting like full, bats of insulation up there. So what I'm deciding to do is use this Reflectix bubble two-sided insulation. Well, I know it's not the most ideal. I know the rodents and everything else won't go after it. And at least they'll give me something. Better than nothing. And I've seen quite a few people do it with actually some really good success. At least 5-degree difference. And once I also put it on the skirts and then skirt this end that's wide open, we should be in good shape. So unfortunately, I got up here and realized that I didn't have enough staples in my staple gun, so that's unfortunate. So I never installed this stuff before, and like with a lot of things in life, there's a lot of things that I've never done before, and this one I feel confident I can do. But when I first started, like after high school, I didn't go to college straight away. I was too busy getting into trouble and doing things I shouldn't have been. But after I was done sowing my wild oats, I had been working construction just as a laborer, and I was around every phase of construction, but I didn't, other than cleaning up between contractors and watching some of what they did, I really didn't know how to do those things. So it wasn't until well, eventually I was invited to the foundation wall crew, and so I did foundation walls, cement, so sidewalks and things like that, which was fine. I did become a skilled laborer, but then I ended up hurting my back and then ended my career in construction, which was fine ultimately. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to do it, but it's what was available at the time, and not having any college degree then, that's what I chose to do. And after I hurt my back, I was spending some time with friends, and I got invited to this Bible study, which was odd because even though I was raised Catholic and stuff, I didn't know anything about you know, my faith is so much. I got invited to this Bible study, and Protestant, and I ended up meeting my wife, and we married after 5 weeks of dating. Yeah, 5 weeks. And this December will be 28 years we're still together. So we started out living with my parents and saving money. But what we ended up doing is, after we saved some money and we really wanted to be on our own, we actually bought a foreclosure house. I can't find my stapler. What did I do with it? We bought a foreclosure for, like, I think it was $47,000. It was a real small little bungalow. It was so bad. We basically, you know, again, we couldn't get a mortgage. We didn't even have a use and occupancy permit. It was basic. It wasn't condemned, but it was not livable. So, what we ended up doing, we paid cash for it, pretty much all the money we had, and I pretty much just worked on it full time. But the way we did it was, since I really didn't know what I was doing, now the demolition was fine. I did the demo work. My dad helped me rip that place right down to the framing. And then for the skilled stuff like electrical work, the stuff that I didn't know how to do, when the contractor would come in, since I hired them, what I did was I would shadow them. So the electricians, I would sit there and work with them and ask them questions. I mean, I'm paying them, so they were nice enough to show me how to do things. So they showed me how to wire outlets. So I helped on the job, and so I learned how to do outlets. I did the same thing with plumbers, and so I just followed them around. They were sweating copper pipes, and I just asked them questions. I watched them intently, and then eventually, when it came time to do things, I was at least a little bit confident to try it on my own. So this went this way for a long time, and eventually we rehabbed that entire house, and I started going to school for computers, and that's ultimately what I ended up in as my profession. So I'm an IT professional, I guess you would say, which turned out really good overall. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I guess the way we got ahead, so to speak, not just my career, which it took a while to get started, but we were, at the time, you could live in your house, say you buy it. We would buy the worst place in the best neighborhood, fix it up, live there 2 years, and I would just rehab one room at a time and figure it out. Just my own two hands. YouTube wasn't a thing, but, you know, again, asking people, figuring out, and just doing it. We would rehab one room at a time while we were living there. So if you live in the house and it's your primary residence, after 2 years, there's no capital gains on the sale. That has changed. Now I think it's 3 of the last 5 or 5 of the last 8. I think you have to be in a house 5 years now in order not to pay capital gains, you know, if you're flipping it. We didn't set out to flip the house, but my job took me a little bit further away. So we took the earnings from rehabbing this house from the ground up, and we upgraded, and we had started having a family. So we had 3 kids at the time. We moved and did the same thing. After seeing that paycheck, we were like, wow, okay, let's keep doing this. So we just, we kept buying fixer-uppers and living in it. And I would go to, I was working, I was going to school at night and fixing the house as I could. And I just kept doing that for years and years and years. And after several houses and several upgrades, eventually my wife was like, I've had enough of the construction and living in this mess. So then we started buying other houses. Now this was just before 2008, 2009. And that was kind of when we were peaking. So we ended up taking equity out of our house and buying a foreclosed house, or like one that was really bad shape, fixed it up, and then with the intentions to rent it. And we just put a mortgage on it, 80% loan to value, and then take all that money and buy another house. And at one point we had 4 rental properties and then our primary residence. And then all of a sudden, 2009, 10, recession, housing market crash, all my tenants lost their jobs. I'm stuck with 5 mortgages, didn't know what to do. I was throwing good money at bad. I didn't have enough reserves because we were just blowing through everything that we had. So ultimately, I ended up filing bankruptcy. But I learned from it, and that's the thing. Like I wouldn't do it the same way again. If I was going to invest in rental properties or something like that, I wouldn't have a loan on it, at least on a single family home. Those are the tough ones because I dealt with professional tenants. They would actually they would rent the place, pay the first month and the security deposit, and then they wouldn't pay any more. And especially during winter, you can't evict them, especially if they have kids. So it would take months to get these people out. And I don't know, it was a big headache. And eventually we did have property managers and things like that, but ultimately I stopped doing that. And I was making enough money at my job that we really didn't need to. But ultimately, the key now, I mean, that's how we started and how I figured out how to do things, just by actually doing it. And there's a lot that I don't know how to do, and I get frustrated because I want to do something, but I don't really know how. So YouTube's been great. I do learn a lot that way. I'll watch, and then I'll go and apply myself and try it. So again, I just saw other people doing it. I said, hey, this is not a bad idea for my situation because of the rodents that we have here. I don't want them tunneling under here. And so, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. And, after going through that financial trauma, I really started to learn a lot, things that I didn't know about finance, and, living within your means, not spending more than you make, not running up credit cards. So the only debt I have left is my primary residence. This property is fully debt free. My cars, no school loans, no anything. I mean, that took a lot of years, but it really changed my mindset. So I'm very reluctant to borrow money at all, ever, for anything. And so far I'm not, for a lot of years now. But it does take time to save for things that you want, especially the high price ones. And I'm pretty frugal. So a lot of the things I spend my money on are things that add value to the things I already have. Because when you spend your money, it's gone. And I say that because when you give every dollar a job, so you want to work for your money once and then make it work for you after that. So I make investments. I buy stock in companies that pay dividends because, basically when you get a dividend, it's like a rent check. Had you been owning, like, say, a rental property or something. So when you spend your money, like, say, on food or this or that, just on things you want, that money can no longer work for you. And I only want to work for my money once. And then after that, I want it to work for me. And I want to keep my footprint, my economic footprint, small, so I don't have many expenses. And it's more relaxing that way. You don't have the overhead. I have more liberty. I have more freedom, to do these types of things and have money in the bank. And then when I actually go to do something, I have the money. So it's been a really long road. I mean, I'm 50 now and finally getting to a spot where I'm not having to worry about money, and I'm still moving forward with my dreams, for retirement or how I want to live the rest of my life without that extra stress and baggage. So, all right, I'm trying to talk. I'm talking a lot here and trying to install this, but so far so good. This stuff just kind of snugs in there pretty well, and I'm just putting a few staples. I don't have many staples, unfortunately, so I'm only going to do a few of these, and then I'm going to have to call it quits. But anyway, that's kind of where I got to where I am initially. Just to recap, I got married pretty young, and we struggled. It was hard in the beginning, but ultimately by you know, making good decisions over the long haul, and then finally learning how to properly manage money, you know, we've gotten to a pretty good spot. So I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff and if I'm just kind of boring you, but just kind of trying to give you some background of where I came from and where I am, and, you know, what my plans are. Yeah, I'm really liking this stuff. It just kind of snugs up into place, holds its spot. You staple it, and sorry, my camera's switching around. I got 2 done so far, and yeah, I'm liking it. No fiberglass, no itchiness. I just use scissors to cut it. Yes, I know it doesn't have the same R value as regular insulation, but this stuff is nice. This is my build site. Actually, I'm just walking over it. And then behind, I have all these trees marked to be taken down. There's here, here, here. These are all badly infected with that dwarf mistletoe. So you can see, like, even on, they call this like a witch's broom, just because of how it affects the branch and looks kind of like a broom. And you can see all these other ones right here and right here. This entire big row right here, all infected. So this last one, I got to take that down to stop communicating to the tree behind it. And then same with these 2. They're infected, but this one is not. And they're within 30 feet. Thankfully, this one here is fine. Again, all these trees here are all really badly infected. And this area, ultimately, that's going to be behind my small home, this is where I'm going to build all my raised bed gardens anyway. So it's unfortunate. I tried to save this one. A lot of the branches had it, but the trunk did not, so that one's probably going to be okay. Even these small ones you can see in here, it's all in here. I gotta see if I can get that branch off before it spreads. It really only spreads in the summer, but unfortunately, yeah, these things are just really roached. Not in good shape. I mean, some of the trees okay, but it literally goes up all the way to the top. And I can see that fungus or whatever it is just growing all the way up. So yeah, unfortunately, it's gonna be a busy day tomorrow. All these trees are coming down. And yeah, so all this here is gonna be clear cut. It's unfortunate. I don't like it, but unfortunately they're badly infected, and I don't want it spreading, because those bigger trees in the back, those are all fine. This entire row, there's a bunch of young ones down low. Those are all fine. No infections. So I really have to stop it here. So I mean, like I said, it'll work out because my garden's gonna go here, all my raised beds. But yeah, I am just shocked at how much dwarf mistletoe is all over the property. But I think I got most of the 2 biggest sections. I walked pretty much the entire 30 acres all over the place, and there was only 2, maybe 3 areas that have infections. The rest is pretty clear, and there's some spots where I just need to make sure that from the infected areas, there's distance put between the unaffected trees, so there's no way for that disease to communicate with the other trees. This was one massive tree. It was already dead. Unfortunately, it's fairly rotted on the inside. Might be able to save some of it for firewood, but yeah, it's pretty bad. And this is the area that was badly infected again. This group of trees has it. These do not. So unfortunately, there's one tree that's in communication distance that has to come down. But yeah, I think I should be able to deal with this and then just bring in a lot of new trees, a lot of small ones, a lot of babies, saplings. And there's other areas in the property that could use trees too. So for every one I'm taking down, I'm going to put more up, maybe 2 times as many, and bring in different species. We're already started. All those trees that I had marked, I have a buddy of mine up here helping me. We'll be running 2 saws today. He's just getting warmed up. He's better at this than me. So yeah, it's gonna be a great day. See how much we get done. Wow, 4 hours of work, 2 people. We got a huge amount of trees down. And it wasn't something I'm crazy about, but as you can see, they're really badly infected with that dwarf mistletoe. And this is right behind where I'm going to be building my house. So it's bad, but it's not a total loss in that I plan to put all of our raised bed gardens and greenhouse back here. And it just really opened it up. There's like so much light now. It's really amazing. So I'm really pleased with the work we got done. It's unfortunate that these trees are really sick. But yeah, it's been a crazy day. And some of these trees are pretty big. I'm actually thinking about seeing how I can mill them. I see people use chainsaw mills. I don't know if it's really worth it, but that's the update. A lot of great work this weekend. Thanks for watching. Take care.